work can be incredibly varied. Some carers go in for a short period of time and help with daily tasks. Other carers might go in for 2 or 3 weeks at a time and provide live-in care, which is a one-to-one care, which is very bespoke to the person that they are looking after. And you very quickly develop a relationship with the person that you're caring with, and you can see the progress that they make. You can see how the help that you are giving them transforms their lives, builds their confidence, supports them, and allows them to flourish. The progression in care is also excellent. I think anyone that starts off as a carer is learning the skills, and those skills they will take on to develop. You can also be flexible, so if there are times in your life when you're looking for a degree of flexibility, perhaps if you've got family or whatever, then you can make it into a flexible or part-time role for those parts of your life that you need that as well. So I think if you are looking for a career, one in care is definitely one worth looking into and giving the most serious consideration. And you actually will find it's very rewarding, and you get a great satisfaction with making people's lives better.